Welcome back to Rewired and Desired podcast. I'm your co-host, Trina Ricketts, and I'm here with my co-host and your co-host, Nicole Richards. And today we are going to talk about the deep life lessons that we've learned
Hmm.
in
I
this
feel like this is going to
whole
be
health
more
journey.
of like a therapy session than anything.
It could be. It could be. Because how do you learn these deep lessons, right?
That's for sure. It's only through experience. It's only through life experience.
hmm I've been on this whole Earth School kind of way of thinking lately.
Hmm.
And how I look at it is, when kids have a really difficult childhood and we say they were forced to grow up fast,
Hmm.
I feel like that's what we're doing when we choose these really difficult lives with ostomies and health
Yeah.
challenges all throughout our lives, is we're trying to help our souls grow up faster.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I have a whole spiritual group of friends that we have these calls, right? And we talk about all this stuff. But and then on the private, I'll talk to a couple of my friends on the side, and my friend Crystal and I were having a chat, and we're discussing what I'm going through here as a caregiver,
Mhm.
and specifically what he's going through.
Do
I've
you want to
kind of
explain that just a little bit, what exactly you're doing?
so he's a caregiver. I'm caregiving for my friend who
Okay.
has Parkinson's disease,
Okay.
but he's also been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Aw.
And so it's attacking the body and the mind, right?
Mhm.
Well, I did my past life regression. I told you that. And it's very clear that he and I have a whole episode in a past life.
Oh,
And I
wow.
don't want to tell a lot about it, not because I don't want to share, like I can share parts with it, but I also don't want others to be partially offended with what I would have to say. And
Mhm.
because there's some things there that could be offensive, I suppose. So basically, I believe that we were in a lifetime together where I was basically like the house servant,
Interesting.
and I didn't have a say back then in
Mhm.
how he treated me. And now that I'm in this position that could really be essentially looked at that way,
Mhm.
I'm putting boundaries up as to say, well, no, I'm a caregiver and
Yeah.
I'm your friends. But the
Mhm.
boundary is just that, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to be doing all these other things. Like, you have a housekeeper, that housekeeper is still going to be cleaning the house. I'm
Yeah,
not. Like, I do the little things, right?
of
And
course.
so it's just been interesting to see. I also have noticed when you said the Earth School, my friend and I, with our discussion, basically went back to think if that was the life lesson learned for me is that I had to put boundaries up. And as we're evolving through the Earth School, um, we've ascended in a sorts, right? Like we're
Mhm.
learning these life lessons and we're growing. But some people may not have, and so they're still facing their demons, and
Mhm.
essentially. And with what I'm going through here, there's a little bit of like I'm almost wondering with people who experience these things if their demons are coming at them to try to get them to transmute some of that karma. That's kind of what we came
Mm.
up with is that seems like that's what's going on here because it's making
Interesting.
sense, right? The hallucinations, the seeing people, like these all these things that are happening.
Mhm.
So yeah, it is a life lesson, like you said, with the being the Earth School.
Mhm.
It's important. But you know what though? And I'm guessing like you, like me, I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in the thick of it,
Yeah.
I would have.
Yeah, for
Like when
sure.
I was going through the worst of my pain, I knew because I'd already done a lot of self-work before that it was important for me not to give up hope, not to think that this is, it's not worth living anymore, to always have hope, to think of the best, to try to focus on what I was grateful for and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And that got me through the worst of it for
Yeah.
sure. But I
Yeah.
felt like a lot of my lessons that I realized came after when. I was starting to heal and able to start to live my life again. And then I started to be able to see what I'd really learned from it and how it had really incredibly changed me
Mm,
into someone completely
yeah,
more compassionate, loving, caring. And
that's yeah.
yeah, I thought I was before, but after
Hmm.
things like, I think probably the biggest life lesson that I learned was that nothing matters except for the people we love.
Yeah.
Like nothing
Mm,
matters. Like if you have to boil it down to you've lost everything,
yeah.
then it's the people you love that you can at least find solace in, you know. And at my worst
Mm,
moments, I would just try to spend that time with my children in the
yeah.
best way that I could
Yeah.
and get through those moments, you know.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
then
beautiful.
because you had to get because you lost everything, you couldn't go to events, you couldn't do a job, you couldn't go out on dates, you couldn't even
Hmm.
take your kids on field trips, like you couldn't do
Hmm.
anything, you lost everything. So then when things start to come back into your life, you realize how like
Mm,
they're just added stuff. They're just stuff that's added to your life. It's
yeah.
not life or death. Like right now, I try to put out an email every week. And
Mm,
sometimes I don't get it out for a week. Sometimes I don't get it out for 2 weeks.
sure.
But because of what I've been through, I realize that's not important.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, you're cherishing, like, I think to me, it sounds like you're saying, like, you're cherishing the people that you love in your life, not necessarily more, but that's the focus. And then everything else is an added bonus, like being able to get back to doing these events, being able to, I mean, look at it this way. I get to do these things, not I
Mm.
have to. I get to send an email out when I'm ready and have the time. I get to do that
Yeah,
because
which is
it's
way
not like
easier to
you
say
don't.
when you're well.
Yeah,
Because when you're not well, it's like I have to drive my kids to school.
yeah,
I have to do the
yeah,
dishes. I
yeah,
have to get out of bed.
yeah. Oh, I totally
It
agree.
does feel that way. And it's hard to think like I get to when you feel when every moment is painful or
Yeah,
difficult. And, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
like we wouldn't be able to do this podcast if we didn't come out the other side already.
Yes, and oh man, I think the deep lessons, just they build that character that's able to handle it. I mean,
Hmm.
now I feel like the things that I go through are like they're easy,
Hmm.
and it's just getting easier.
Yeah.
Recently I had a talk with somebody who was like, so and so said this about you, and they didn't agree with the way you live nomadically. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, do they? Great.
Yeah.
Because the closed-mindedness of that person doesn't affect me the way it would have affected me years. I'd be like,
Right.
oh, what's wrong with me? Am I really that crazy because I'm doing this? But no, I'm
Are
not.
other people judging me too?
Yeah, are other people? No, and I know the answer because I get
Yeah.
way more static from how excited people are to hear about it versus
Hmm.
how ridiculous they think it sounds.
It's funny how negative stuff though has so much more power over us. Like
Hmm.
a negative experience, we'll remember it so much longer and it's so much harder to um like accept it and move on. Whereas like a great experience, we could forget about it so fast. But I think like going through the stuff that we go through makes us really appreciate the good stuff, you know, and also like the
Yes.
situation you're in with the caretaking role. Like
Hmm.
when I was working in frontline support work in transition houses, and most of the resident people who would come through our transition houses were homeless women.
Mm,
And I would go home to my very modest little basement suite where I lived with my two children and my husband, and we had two cars
yeah.
that we were driving.
Yeah.
Both of them were insured, a roof over our heads, you know, children to bring us joy. I
Hmm.
just felt so grateful for how much
Oh,
I had, seeing every day what people didn't have and seeing people
100%.
struggle, you know.
100%. Yeah, I'm very thankful, and I'm just thankful. I also look back on my own life and think, wow, I'm glad I'm not there anymore because I'm glad I'm not doing that again. Um, I don't know, like even looking back at those moments when I didn't have a car, when I was homeless, or like the times I had to walk to the store because I didn't have my vehicle, like all these things, like I just some of it's nostalgic, actually. Like, not because I want to go back to that, but because it was that moment of creating who I am now. It was this sifting. I don't know if you listen to Abraham Hicks. Have you heard of Abraham Hicks?
I think I've heard of him. I may have listened. I don't remember though.
Okay. So it's actually, well, Abraham Hicks is she channels Abraham Hicks. So her name is
Okay.
Esther, but she channels Abraham, if you believe in channeling, right? Um,
Interesting.
she believes so she channels, and part of what she talks about is how you have to, in order for you to know what you do want, you have to sift and sort through all the things that you've been through to
Mhm.
decide what you do want and what you don't want.
No doubt.
Um, I I recently started talking to a guy. Uh-huh.
Ooh.
And it's interesting because he's been through a lot of shit too.
Mm.
Like a lot.
Mhm.
And on our conversations, it's so clear though how he's, unbeknownst to him, I think the sifting and sorting thing has was done for him as well, right? Like he went through all this bad stuff to be able to be here and meet me in this part, right? Like because we went to high school together, but we didn't talk to each other like that.
Mhm.
So it's just interesting to think of all those years in between, all those years, like between all the shit he went through, all the shit I went through, like to be here now and having this great connection, even though it's super, super brand new,
Mhm.
but the great connection, like I can't imagine had I not have went through those life lessons and he not, like we wouldn't
Mhm.
understand each other.
Yeah.
And that's so fucking beautiful,
Yeah,
you
it is.
know?
I always find like people who've been through difficult experiences, similar or different from mine,
Mm-hmm.
really, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
If you've come through something that's really profoundly difficult and you've grown from it, because some people
Mm-hmm.
go through things that are profoundly difficult and they don't grow from it.
True. True.
But when you have and you've grown, that's there's like you recognize it in other people who have been through that too. When they tell
Mm-hmm.
you their story and the way that they
Yeah.
talk, you can be like, "Oh, you get it." So many people don't get it, but you
Oh, and
get
it's
it.
such a like a breath of fresh air. Like my conversations with you, with him, with my spiritual friends in this other thing that I do. Like it's so relieving. It's
Hmm.
so relieving. And so like that's why I hope people who listen to this think relief. Like we get it. We
Hmm.
understand it, you know? Because there
Totally.
is people that are so close-minded, like the person who couldn't believe I live nomadically, and what is that about?
Hmm.
Like you know that that person could not have went through, they probably went through difficult stuff. Everybody
Hmm.
does. No, it's no different. But never to reach the understanding at that age that that person is to be accepting of other people and just
Hmm.
close-minded to
I mean,
accepting
yeah,
people.
yeah, I feel sorry for people like that. People who feel
Yeah.
like they have to tear each other or tear other people's dreams
Hmm.
down or
Hmm.
try to tear down what they're building,
Yeah.
put it down,
Yeah.
trash talk it,
Right.
whatever,
Right.
because they're not living their dream. They're
Yeah.
jealous.
Yes.
Usually they're jealous, especially when it
Yes.
comes to women. But yeah,
Yes. And
it's
we've had that conversation because that's happened to
yeah.
you in our Facebook group,
Yeah.
where that's happened. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm sorry, like that's, but you're like, doesn't bother me actually,
Hmm.
and I love that because it's a super healthy place to be at. And when women like you and I can not be competitive, piddly,
Hmm.
or like that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's
That's the
when
way
we're
it should
most
be.
powerful. We are most powerful when we're not feeling like we need to compare ourselves to each
Yeah.
other,
Yeah.
which is it's obviously a human thing, not a soul thing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and it seems to be very common in women. And I'm guessing it's like biological because we compete for the strongest mates
Yeah.
and we don't
I
want
even
anyone
think
to
men
steal our
have it.
man because he's providing for us and our children or whatever,
True. I've even see it in men though, right? Like
Yeah.
I kind of talked to you about that before, like how the roles are shifting with the feminine masculine, and I see it in men too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm starting to see it more in men than women, actually.
Like getting jealous of other men or jealous of women.
Jealous of other men because of women.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
like you
Or
mean like
like,
the incels or whatever? I don't really know much about it, but my understanding is there's this whole movement of men who feel like they are entitled to intimacy and
hmm,
it's the problem is women.
oh,
Women are the problem because they've changed
they
and
won't put out.
they won't put out, they're not as easy as they used to be. I don't know. Like I
Times have
just can't
changed.
understand how anyone could rationalize that, but I haven't really gone down that rabbit hole. But that sounds like someone who hasn't grown from
Oh yeah. No.
their
Well,
issues, you know?
yeah, not willing to release the patriarchy and not willing to release the fact that that women are starting to be in their feminine and to realize that their goddess energy should be supported by men, right? Like,
Hmm.
you know, we talked too about the woman who was like, well, if you want to take me on a date, you'll have to like buy this and do like you'll have to pay a retainer fee.
Hmm.
Which is ridiculous. But on the same token, like we said, we kind of understand it. Like, there's no way that you
Hmm.
can, expect a woman just to put out. Like, what's, you
I
can't.
know.
Like, we're changing. Things are changing, and we all, humanity evolves, right? And that's where we're at. We're evolving.
Yeah, I think honestly those group of those men that are feeling that way are they're in a situation where they're just not taking accountability for whatever it is
That's true.
that's pushing women away. If
That's true.
women aren't attracted to them, if they can't get a woman to be interested in them sexually or otherwise, it's because of something they're doing. It's their insecurities, it's their bad energy, it's their maybe they're not nice people, but maybe, they just don't have any
Hmm.
social skills because they spend too much time in front of a screen. Like there's just so many reasons why they're not attractive.
Yeah.
And if they really want to attract women, instead of blaming women for not being attracted to them,
Yeah.
find a way to become more attractive. And that
Yeah.
goes for women too. Instead of competing with other women and
Yeah.
trying, we want to build each other up and cheer each
Yeah.
other on.
Yeah.
And a woman who's not jealous, who can see another beautiful woman and be like appreciative of it, and even maybe like I used to with my ex say, check out that hottie. Like, we could appreciate hotness, like it
Hmm.
just because
I do that.
we weren't jealous and we weren't insecure. We knew we were going home with each other, and it was just so that's another thing that I feel like a life lesson I've learned is that life is so short
Mm.
that I don't want to spend a single day in mental anguish if I can
No,
help it. So I
no,
don't want to engage in jealous behavior. I
no,
don't want to think about things that make
no,
me feel like shit. I don't
no.
want to watch movies that scare me and make my heart
Yes.
race. And
Yeah.
I want to engage and be involved and have like a life of, smiling, laughing, and getting along. And I know it can't be like that every single day, but
No.
the majority of the days will be like that
Yeah.
if that's my
If
boundary,
Well, and if that's what you focus on, if you focus on all the good things and all
Mhm.
the positive things that are happening in your life, and you attract it. We've talked about that too. Like, we attract how we feel. So if
Mhm.
we're gonna sit there and feel scared and feel angry and feel jealous and feel all those low vibrational energies, then that's what we're gonna attract.
And also, if we're doing things or being with people who make us feel like shit, then that's what our life is going to be like. Like
Hmm.
after everything I went through, I would never stay in a job that I hated. I would never stay in a relationship with someone who made me cry every day.
Right.
These are things that I did before, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't do
Me
them
too.
now.
Exactly.
I demand, I have a boundary of a bare minimum of happiness in my life. Like I know it can't be perfect every day, and I know
Mhm.
I'm going to have hard times and I'm going to be sad. And still believe in love. That's another thing. Like
Yeah.
before all of this, had become pretty jaded. And I
Yeah.
was like, I had walls up and I didn't want a man in my life and I didn't trust
Yeah.
any men. And I kind of had a little bit of a hate on for men even. But after I went through all of everything, especially in 2012 when I had my first ostomy surgery. That's when my
Hmm.
real transformation happened. After that, I was like, life is so short. I want to live it as fully and passionately as I can, like
Yes.
every moment that I can, because I might just have a week of health and then I'll be out for another 3 years. I don't know.
Right.
You because
Right.
it happened so suddenly
Yeah.
that it could happen again. And I was
Yeah.
like, every moment that I have even enough, the tiniest bit of health, enough to have a life,
Yeah.
I'm going to live it to the fullest. And so then
Yeah.
I wanted to find someone I could be in love with and have a
Yeah.
wild, passionate affair. And I didn't
Yeah.
care like if they like my ex, I didn't care about his red flags because
Hmm.
we just had a really passionate, amazing connection. And I wanted to live it up and squeeze every ounce of joy out
Yes.
of it that I could. And I did. And
Yes.
until it got to the point where I was having more unhappy days with him than happy
Hmm.
days. And that's when I was like, that's my boundary.
Yeah.
That's my boundary.
No,
I want more good days than bad.
I'm right there with you, and especially at this point, like for myself, like the accident, was that layer, added layer, and then coming here to California to be the caregiver, like I also have been so sedentary. So it's been a year and like 4 months since I've actually been able to be free, I would say.
Wow.
Um, yeah, like I had 2 weeks of vacation where I had that time, but that's nothing. Like to me, I mean, that's nothing. Um, that's where I'm at. I'm so ready to go back home. I'm so ready to have that passionate type. Um, I'm just I'm ready for
Hmm.
love. I'm ready for companionship. I'm
Yeah.
ready for
You're ready for
like
risk.
risk.
It's a
Yeah. It
risk.
it is a scary,
It
but it's a
is.
good scare. It's a good fear. It's
Yeah.
like I'm ready for that next point in my life, whatever that is. But
I
and
talked to,
I might not find it, but I might find it. And
yeah, you're open to it.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
a
So,
coaching client the other day who said that they feel like they don't know if it's worth being falling in love because it is so painful when that love ends.
ugh,
And I'm the opposite. It is painful. I'm still getting over my ex. And we've
yeah.
been split up. It'll be 2 years next month. Not because I want to be with him again or I want to get back together at
Hmm.
all, but just because I miss a lot of those beautiful things that we
Yes.
had when we were together.
Yeah.
However, I would never give up all the amazing times I had with him to avoid this
Yeah.
transition
And
of,
I can
getting
see
used
where
to being on my own.
you could feel that way momentarily, or
Mhm.
like you said, you still feel, it's probably like a little pull, right? Some days are good and some days you miss it.
Yeah, it's not him that I miss, but like
Yeah,
that's why I'm dating because I would love to
yeah.
have a connection like that with someone again, you know?
That's just it. It's that connection.
Yeah,
Ah, I know it's there.
it's
I know it's
fun.
there. And the best part of it, when you and I finally find whoever this person is, it's gonna be so fucking magical
Hmm.
because just what you said, we went through the bullshit. We know what
Hmm.
we want going forward, and we've longed for it and we've desired it, but not so hard as to push it away,
Hmm.
because that's the important part. Not
Yeah. Well, we
not
don't need a
desiring it.
man. We both are obviously very perfectly fine on our own. And I think
100%.
that's what gets in the way. And this has turned into like love lessons, but
I know,
I
right?
think that's what gets in the way of a lot of people attracting love and companionship in their lives is they're not happy alone. And if you're not happy alone, then you immediately become codependent when you get into a relationship.
100%.
Yeah. You got to
100%.
be happy alone. You got to know that if the relationship ever ends, your heart might break, but you'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've always known that my heart might break, but I'll be
Hmm.
okay because I can handle life on my own.
Yeah. See, before I couldn't in my past relationships,
Hmm.
but I've been single for, I don't know, since like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. Like, and it's also kind of scary thinking of it this way. Like, you want to make sure that that person is really involved in their own life because you don't want to be steered off from your own life. So the
Yes.
right person has to really have been on that same trajectory you have at some point to understand that, hey, yes, yes, I want this, but I also have all this going on. And I hope that you also have something going on because you can't be needy and clingy. No needy and clingy. Like,
Something
right?
this is maybe a little off topic, but I definitely want to ask you this question. I
Mhm.
think about this quite often about what kind of man do I really want to attract? And sometimes because I'm so, you know, going after my shit, I'm driven, I'm motivated,
Mhm.
I've got so much on the go. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm on social media,
Yeah.
becoming like my face known and my
Yeah.
my content known in the ostomy community and
Definitely.
so I'm just like so out there, and I'm also very like loud, kind of like person that
Hmm.
very talkative when you meet me and
Hmm.
open, and people are always like, wow, no one's ever been this open to me before. And I'm like, oh, I could talk about anything.
I
When
love
you talk
that.
about sex on social media, you could talk
Yeah,
about anything after that. But
exactly.
and so then I wonder to myself, do I want a man who's like me, very
Mm.
driven, entrepreneurial, has like this same drive that I do so we can understand each other that way? Or do I want a man that's the opposite of me, that's more calm, that provides like this solid, secure
Yeah.
base for me, that supports me but isn't on his the same similar journey. He's already
Yeah.
got his thing and he's settled and he likes what he's doing and it's enough, whatever he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see for you where someone completely opposite of you would be your best match. That's just me. I mean, I don't know if that's not the truth.
Yeah,
I feel like somebody completely opposite of you would be like a match in
I
heaven.
think you might be right. I mean, I have no idea. We'll see what happens in the
Right.
future.
Right. Right. Yeah,
But it's interesting.
I feel like because you are like you need the balance, right?
I think so
Like
too.
there needs to be like a balance for that. Like
Hmm.
which I would never you're perfect the way you are. I just think as a man to complement that would be that balance. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It might be
Yeah.
too much if we're both like,
I don't think it'd be too much. It's never too much. Like I
yeah,
feel like there always is going to be somebody who's just that right person. There
yeah.
is. It's just, finding it. I think too for you, I think there's just something to be said about the organic meeting kind of thing.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think too, like, I don't know. I just feel like I mean, I know it works online, but I just
Hmm.
feel like I feel like you'll meet somebody organically.
Yeah, I shut
Just,
down my dating app. The
did
dating app
you?
I was on, yeah. Yeah, I deactivated it just for now anyway. Usually I'll just go back on it when like life gets a little bit slow or boring and I want some
Yeah.
excitement
Yeah,
and
I
I'll,
know.
go out on a couple
It
dates.
is kind of interesting.
Yeah. And then I'll shut it down again because it's just, I don't know. Like
That's
I had
what,
like a really lame date recently. I
oh,
went
did
to,
you?
yeah, we went to a beach. We were just going there to, I don't know if I should say this on YouTube, smoke weed.
Oh, I think you can say that. I have no idea.
We went there and just to smoke a joint and like the joint was just barely lit and I was ready to leave. I was like, this is so
Why?
horrible. The guy
Why?
wouldn't stop talking negatively. So that right there is like bad
Hmm.
energy turn off for me.
Yeah.
Talked the whole time about his ex-wife and her
Oh
new
no.
boyfriend. So he's
No.
clearly still in love with her.
Yeah.
And like, why are you even out with me, buddy? And
Yeah, I
then, yeah,
don't like
and then
that.
he's like, he just kept going on and on. There was no like interactive conversation. He never stopped talking. And the whole time it was just negative, negative, negative. And then I'm like, the joint's done. I'm thinking, finally, it's over. We can leave. And he lights another one. And I'm like, no, thanks. I'm good. And
Yeah.
then I'm still waiting, waiting, waiting. I'm like, how am I going to get out of here? I'm trying to like
Yeah. Like
engage in a
how,
conversation so that
right.
maybe we could get away from this topic of his ex-wife, but not doesn't work.
Oh gosh.
And then these teenagers come over and they ask him for a light, and he asks them for a cigarette. So then he lights a cigarette, and I'm sitting there in a
No.
cloud of disgusting cigarette smoke
Oh.
at the beach.
You know what though? It was the first date, right?
It was a second date.
Oh, it was the second.
Yeah, the first one he did talk about his ex, but not as much. Maybe he was like trying to control himself more.
Yeah, it sucks because like seeing that on the first date would have helped a little bit, but at least you didn't have to go through like
Yeah.
4 or 5 dates for him to be like
Oh
in
yeah.
that. Like the sooner the better, right?
Totally. How I ended up getting out of there is I just stood up and like looked at him and just started walking towards the parking lot and looking at him and he just kept talking and he stood up and he started walking to the parking lot with me. He talked the whole way. And I was like,
So did you ghost him after that or did you
I just, yeah, I never,
yeah.
I didn't like say anything when I said goodbye, like, hope to see you again or anything like
Yeah.
that. I just said,
Yeah.
thanks, have a great day or something like that. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah. Good idea.
Or drive safe because he lives like about 20 minutes away or a half hour away
Mm.
from the beach we were at.
Hmm.
And then I didn't ever talk to him since then, and I won't.
Good. Good. Yeah, you don't need that in your life. That's for sure.
I think he probably, like, how could someone be so not self-aware to realize,
I I think that they think that the energy that you can match it, right? Like I think they're hoping for someone like in their mind they're thinking, "Oh, it'd be such a connection if I could just bitch about my ex all day." Wow, wouldn't that be a woman wants to hear how great it would be to talk about another woman when we're just like that is not what we want to do. And
yeah,
if they he probably needs to find someone like that.
maybe.
Probably. I don't know.
It's
But
so
but for
weird.
us, we're just like, I don't want to hear that. I definitely don't want to hear that. No, no, I will shut that shit down. Yeah, I can do that. No,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been kind of one dud after another on that dating app.
But that's why I think you're gonna find somebody in organically. I think you're gonna find somebody organically who's gonna be the opposite, who's gonna compliment that you. Um, I think for me, like it's going to be a little bit of a balance of both. Like someone who's not completely out there the way I am either, and not because I'm super loud, which I am, but too, like, right, like somebody who's not doing the same thing as I'm doing, but
Hmm.
maybe on their own level doing their own thing, you know?
Do you feel like your health journey helped you like kind of determine or like realize what's most important for you in a partner?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Mm.
Because if I were to get sick again, and when I'll probably have to have another surgery at some point in my life on something. uh,
I know it starts to feel like it's just part of your life, right?
statistics say so, right? Just
Yeah.
my own body has said so, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I have to think about is this person going to be compassionate enough to take care of me when I'm sick or when I'm not
Hmm.
feeling right?
Yeah.
And to understand it. There's no way I could be with somebody who's gonna there's there are men out there, as you know, that would be totally turned off by our health journeys. Not the
Hmm.
ostomy necessarily, although there's those, but just people don't want to deal with people's shit sometimes.
I think they're just not capable of it, honestly.
They're
I
not
think there's
capable,
just
yeah.
people who just can't handle the stuff that we can handle. They chose easier lives in the soul world when they're in their planning stages.
See, and that's why I think finding somebody who's been through
Hmm.
some shit and came out the other end is so important. It doesn't have to be health
Yeah.
stuff. It can be anything. But they came out of it because I just don't see myself finding somebody who's never understood
Hmm.
uh, who's had it good their whole life, right? Because
Yeah.
there's the people that
Yeah.
have had it good.
The
They've
people
never
who like when you tell them that your life story, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
yeah.
They
How
think like it's just been all horrible and
yeah. Yeah. I want somebody who acknowledges that it's been rough, but is
hmm.
like, I get it,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people can't understand. Like nobody would be able to understand me being homeless. Like the first speak of being homeless, people are going to think, oh, were you on drugs? Um, I don't know, what other
Yeah.
drugs, alcoholic, whatever else, right? Like I mean, the
Hmm.
immediate
Mental illness,
stigma
etc.
attaches to something like that. And it's like, no, I was sick. I had
Hmm.
years of un being of not being healthy,
Hmm.
and so somebody who understands that, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
think they're out there. I do think they're out there. So
For me, a huge thing is that I want somebody who uh is not negative. Like I can't be with someone who is gets upset. Like they've got to be stoic, like
yeah,
very level mood. Because if I'm around someone who's really emotional, gets angry really easily,
yeah,
that just it increases my drama, my anxiety, and I just
Yes.
don't want it. I have zero room for that in my life. I
Yeah.
want peace. So that's a
Yeah.
huge thing. Negative, no negativity, like never feeling like I have to walk on eggshells about what I say. I want to
Yeah.
be able to say freely anything that comes into my head and never be
100%.
judged for it. Always be
Yeah.
treated with respect and
Yeah.
love, you know, and because I give that, so why can't I get that?
You
And then,
can. That's
yeah. And
it.
then
You
the other
can.
thing is I've always been the most affectionate, and I would really love someone who was super affectionate that would
Yeah.
hug me a lot. And because
Yeah.
when I'm sick, affection falls right off because I'm the
Yeah.
one who always initiates it,
Yeah.
you know? And my health is a
Hmm.
little like this. I get sick sometimes. So when
Yeah.
I'm sick, I would love it if I was with someone who actually like hold me or, you know,
Yeah.
give me
100%.
some love.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely I've never been a super, super affectionate person unless it's somebody that I really if let's just say if I like you, you will know that I like you because I will be affectionate. Otherwise I
Hmm.
won't be at all. Um, but I do too. I can feel that. Like I feel then I'm it has to be someone who can play with my hair and you know and cuddle with me
Hmm.
and make me feel like I'm number one, right?
Yeah,
Like I am the only person in the room. Like I want to feel that way.
totally.
I want the fairy tale.
That's
What's wrong with that?
beautiful.
There's nothing wrong with see you and I we deserve that. We
Yeah.
deserve that.
The only problem is like when we find it, then how do we keep it? And, you know, the excitement of new love is amazing, but over
Yeah.
time it wears off.
Fades.
And then we go
Mhm.
through the hardships and our bond can pull apart and come back together. So think
True.
knowing that that's normal, the ebb and flow of our bond,
Mhm.
and being able to find ways to uh, keep the spark alive, keep intimacy
Reignite.
alive.
Mhm.
A lot of that is just being separate beings and nurturing your own sexual self outside
Mhm.
of the relationship, like in the way of wanting to feel sexy, noticing other sexy people. Doesn't mean you cheat on your partner, but
Yeah.
not shutting off the sexual side of you
Right.
just because you're in a relationship. Because when you do that, when you only have eyes for your partner and then they get kind of boring to you,
Mhm.
or vice versa, you get kind of boring to them and you're dependent on their affection and then it's too much
Yeah.
responsibility, I think, to put on one person. We need to feel like people outside of our relationship find us attractive
Yeah. Yeah.
and that we find other people attractive. We need to like recognize it's normal to have desire and attraction because when we push that down in an effort to be emotionally and mentally monogamous to our
Yeah.
partner, we're actually like stifling our own sexual desires and our own
Yeah.
sexual needs. And when
Right.
sex falls off in a relationship, that's
Yeah.
often when the relationship starts to go downhill.
Well, my guess is that you have a ton of advice on how to reignite reignite the relationship, right? You know how to
Right?
spice things up. So
So reach out if you need some coaching.
exactly,
Thank
exactly.
you, Nicole. That was perfect segue for me to promote my business.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. But in all reality,
Hmm.
um, I think that's what I got out of that too, though, is like the ebb and flow, like you said, you just got to spark it up a little bit. You got to reignite. You got to, just put a little costume on and dance in front of them or something, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. And
change it
both
up,
people have
change.
to make intimacy a priority, both people. Because if
Yeah,
only one person does, that's still gonna it's gonna
yeah,
fail, you know.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
thank
I look
you.
forward. I'm glad this. I mean, it turned into a little bit more about the love and romance, but I think that's what people need to hear.
Hmm.
Clearly, it's what we needed to talk about. So
Yeah,
I
we just
feel,
went with the flow.
I feel good about it.
Me too. Hmm. Oh, you're so
Love it.
beautiful.
Oh, you are too.
Well,
We
have a
we
great
both
day.
are.
Yeah, we
We
are.
both are.
What do you want to talk about next week? Any ideas?
Gosh, I don't know. See, we do this, huh?
You know what we should do an episode about is um accepting death.
Mm,
I don't know about you, but I've been faced with it so many times, and I bet a lot of our audience have. And we're still around to do this podcast or watch this podcast, but
right?
we've had to face the possibility of
Yeah.
our demise.
Yeah, a few times, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about that.
It'd
I
be
mean,
interesting.
mine's definitely going to come from a real spiritual side aspect
Hmm.
where because that's changed. My idea of death has definitely changed over the last like 10
Yeah.
years. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
me too.
yeah.
I think it
Perfect.
helps you to accept it when you have these, when I
Yeah,
think spirituality helps you to not be afraid of God for sure, or God,
100%.
afraid of death,
Or
and
God.
God for that matter.
Or God, because we should be
Yeah.
scared of God. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, until
Perfect.
then.